All right, I am going to call to order the, what day is today? The 14th of March meeting of the Urbana Park District Board of Commissioners here in Urbana, Illinois, 61801 and '02. We have no remote attendance requested. I think I've got this straight now. But we do have a Zoom link open for the public to attend and to, yes, to attend to the meeting. So now we need to accept our agenda. You guys are gonna be busy because you're it. So you can just tag team it.
Nancy, the secretary, I just want to point out, as
Oh.
noted in that we suggested move 2 of the items up to the front of the meeting. It's in the
Right.
agenda
Yep,
as
okay.
is, but just wanted to call it to
Okay,
everyone's
good,
attention.
yep. Okay, that makes your life more interesting. So we're gonna move up A and B under new business.
Yes,
8 and 8.
as suggested in the agenda.
Right,
And then I think we need a motion to accept it.
Do you want to make the motion, Roger? Because I don't have it annotated in front of me.
Oh, sure, yeah. I move that we accept the agenda as presented, except for moving item 8, new business, item A, and number 8, new business, item B, moving them up immediately after Roman numeral 3.
Correct.
Second.
all right, any discussion? Okay. Let's just do roll call, just because it's easier since Roger's masked, and we'll start.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
okay. Is anybody else to vote? That's 3 ayes.
Correct.
All right, so we have accepted the agenda. We will move on now to public comment. No, not yet. You're almost there, Beth. Not quite. All right, I don't hear any member of the public wanting to make any comment right at the moment. And we have no staff introductions, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now, my pen's dead. Yeah. So now we are going to go to items A and B under new business, the presentation from CORE. And secondly, then we will have the birding breed report from Beth after the CORE presentation.
Great. Kicking us off, as you know, we had bid opening today on the Health and Wellness Facility. Our plan for tonight is to hear from staff and from CORE, our construction managers, on any information they've received from the bids that they can ascertain. Likely follow-ups would be a full analysis of the bids, information back to staff, and then recommendations made and ready for the March 28th meeting, which we would have approvals. So with that, I'll turn over to Derek and staff if they have introductions or anything else to add to that, and we'll get started.
I can introduce, this is Joel here. He worked with us for CORE for the pre-construction phase, put together a lot of the bid packages. As Tim mentioned, we had our bid opening this afternoon. So right now it's just kind of a review of how those bids came in. And then I think CORE will also kind of talk about our next steps in approval of a GMP. And we can also review some budget information as far as the Park District funds that we have secured to this point. So I'll turn it over to Joel, who I believe can share your screen now if you'd like.
Yep. Okay, is this okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Stop my video though.
Okay, so just a quick post-bid update from the opening today. On the agenda, we will take a look at the base bid GMP price. So this is the construction cost based off today's apparent low bidders. We'll do a budget comparison. We'll look at the master budget, some alternate options, and some next steps. So for the base bid GMP, what this construction cost includes is the direct work, so it's those 12 bid packages that were open today and the apparent low bidders. We're carrying construction contingency of 2%, a design contingency of 1%, the construction we gave was $11,600,000. Today came in about $1 million higher at $12,625,000. So again, the variance is about $1 million over. Some of the key differences when looking at that, back at 50% CD, we had given a budget for bid package 5, which is the steel fabrication and erection, as well as the pre-engineered metal building. And we did a budget of $2.6 million for this. And that was based off a lot of conversations with our trade partners and throughout multiple phases of budgeting. And then when the pricing came in today, it came in at about $3.8 million. That was the low bid. There was another bid at about 4.6. So it's about a $1.2 million variance. So right now, Core's focus is kind of trying to get a narrative as to what happened there. We'll be working through that over the next couple of days, try to get some more information on that. Master budget. So essentially, this is the cost of the GMP construction costs plus the owner soft costs, the items you guys are carrying. So again, the GMP cost today came in at about 12.6 million, and right now you guys are carrying around 2 million in your owner budget. So the master budget combined is 14,625,000. Couple alternate scenarios. There was 11 alternates on this project. I just wanted to highlight a few of the important ones. The first one being extending and enlarging the gym space. That came in at about 1,130,000. So the base bid with that alternate, you're looking at 13,755,000. From a master budget standpoint, with your guys' costs included, you're at 15,755,000. Second alternate is to fully furnish and finish the equipment room on the second floor. The base bid just has it as a shelf space. So to add this in, you're looking at an additional 120,000. So the base bid with this alternate, 12,745,000. With the master budget, 14,745,000. Alternate 10 was to do heavy duty concrete in lieu of asphalt in all the parking lots and spaces. So it's actually a deduct of 27,000 from our low bidder, which is great. So again, you just knocked 27,000 off the base bid, and your master budget would be 14,600,000. And then I gave an option, it's kind of the highest option you can really take, is to do the base bid, enlarge the gym, and finish that room out on the second floor. And then I also added in the concrete, so I believe that's preferred by you guys. And that total would be 13,848,000. And it would be 15,848,000 with your guys' costs included. So that's pretty brief, the overview from today, but next steps, over the next few days here, I'm gonna go back, review all these bid forms, follow up with subcontractors, make sure everything's squared away. I'll firm up this alternate pricing and send it to you guys to review. We will determine which alternates you guys would like to accept. Once we know what alternates you guys are looking to accept, we'll assemble the GMP amendment with the contracts and send that out to you guys. And then the board meeting would be the 28th to review this information. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of this. Pretty short, but whatever questions you guys have right now, I'd be happy to answer for you if I can.
Joel, I just wanted to add a few things. I thought we had really good interest in this project. I've never attended a bid opening that took 45 minutes. Andy read over 30 different submittals from the different trades, and so there was a lot of good interest in this project. And with the exception of that steel building, we did quite well on our bids, and so we'll be interested to hear more from Core back about what they hear. That impacts not only our base bid, but also our big alternate bid, alternate number 1. So we'll find out more about that. I think we were all on pins and needles up until this day, and although the news is not ideal, it is within reach, and so I'm encouraged that we actually have so much participation, and working with Core, we'll be able to get a better idea what happened with the steel building aspect of it, and it's just this format really paid dividends, because you may recall there was a point where we thought we were going to be doing a very different building, and Core was able to shed some light on what the construction pricing is today. So to be able to come this close in this kind of very uncertain bid environment, I think is a good sign. So Does the board have any questions for Joel or for staff?
Anything immediate that you can think of? Well, we have them. Obviously, it's fresh and still trying to make sense of it ourselves, but, I think just from a staff perspective, I think our steps, would be to get the full analysis, identify the priorities in those alternates. Which ones do you really need? What could we do alternatively? Ultimately, look at our budget internally, see any funds that we could access, delay, push around, move around. We've done that over the many years. Certainly, we have reserve, fund balance to look at, and then we have a borrowing option for anything. So I think our goal and staff preference would be to try to find money internally that we can responsibly access. Anything that could be rearranged or delayed with capital to give us a little relief or any relief, we would certainly look at. And then if there was any additional, let's call it outside funding, look at that and try to reduce that to the lowest amount. If that seems reasonable to you all, I think that's what we're prepared to do. Obviously, we always hope that the bids would come in under and we would have enough to make, but I think Derek's correct. We're very close. It's a really difficult bidding environment. Trying to find a way forward for the community would be in everyone's best interest as long as we can do it responsibly.
Right.
Derek, is it fair to say that except for the surprise on the steel fabrication, that this is basically what you were expecting?
I'm a little bit better actually than what we're
Okay,
we're
good.
expecting. So,
Excellent.
again, just a lot of interest and participation. Our parking lot was full.
Nice.
With bidders that attended. So it was a really good bid opening from that perspective. We just have this one oddity, and we'll find out more. Maybe steel jumped in price in the last few days. We don't know at this point, but I feel comforted that we're within range. It's been a sleepless couple of nights up until tonight. So, yeah.
Yeah,
High anxiety, but
Yeah.
we're trying to get it over the finish line
without Mel Brooks.
and as much as we can bring over. Well, we appreciate the great work that Core's done in leading us through this portion. It's been enjoyable working with the Farnsworth team and Core. Our staff have meshed really well. I think it helps to get us right down to the efficient part of putting a project together. So I think we're right at the precipice of that, and this next week will be critical.
Is there anything that Farnsworth would like to add? Would you?
No comments from Farnsworth Group at this time.
Okay.
Just resonating that same comment you had.
Very good.
Well, I think that might be all we have to share. Again, we can't do a whole lot of at-the-table math work or analysis,
Yeah.
until we get more information from Core and talk with Farnsworth and see where we stand, answer any questions. However, if you have questions over the next day or so, just send them to staff and we'll incorporate that into our questions.
As Joel mentioned, in the coming week, it'll be important for us to determine, how we want to approach the alternates. I think we've all felt like the full program, particularly alternates number 1 and 2, which is for the 2 gyms, and for alternate number 1 and alternate number 2 to finish that fitness room on the second floor, were really important to our program and part of what we communicated to the public and our donors. So we're hopeful that we're able to support that direction and find a way, but wanted to at least get some reflection from the board here tonight, and then the folks that couldn't make it, we'd be happy to talk to tomorrow or whenever we can pick up the phone. So
Yeah.
how are you all feeling?
Mildly hopeful. I mean, does that sound about right?
Yeah.
I mean,
What goes into the soft costs at $2 million?
Yep. So it's all the architecture fees, it's all of Core's fees, it's all the concrete and construction testing, it's all the equipment that we'll be putting in, fitness equipment, gym equipment, that sort of thing. We also included the actual gym equipment, like the basketball standards and things like that, so we could make sure that we got the package that we wanted from what we've seen from our facility tours. And then there's a lot of smaller type of things. That's a budget we want to look at more closely and see if there's any opportunity to bring more to the construction side. And that's something staff will be starting tomorrow, so.
Okay.
So is this, for an example, would be the idea of perhaps renting or leasing
Yeah,
exercise equipment as
Right.
opposed to outright buying?
Correct.
So
Right.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's,
Yeah, the pricing we've got on that has been pretty competitive, but at this point, we want to, look at every possible
Yep.
savings.
sure.
Yeah.
Good.
In previous projects, our general strategy would be to try to get as much square footage and then furnish the building out. A little bit different approach. Obviously, if you have health and wellness, you need some equipment and things in
Yeah.
place. It took 7 years to get professional exhibits at the Anita Purvis. We built this exhibit room, but it was 7 years later when we put in. It's a little hard to run a fitness program without any equipment. So, but we'll be doing that, looking at what can wait, what can we move around.
Yep.
Try to take advantage of as much flexibility as we possibly can.
Yep.
So we'll give it the good old UPD effort and see where we land next week.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we started, right?
Yes,
Now, we've
now we
taken that
know.
big step.
Absolutely.
Yep, yep. So will you be able to sleep tonight?
I will.
Oh, good, okay. Not just because you're exhausted, but because we're over that.
Maybe even at this meeting.
Oh, yeah. Andy, your job is to keep him awake,
Right.
awake till we're through the capital projects, then he can doze off. Okay, well, I mean, that is, it's mixed news, but it's progress. Really, and that's,
Absolutely.
yeah,
We've been waiting, for this day for
I know,
a
just
long, long
forever.
time, so now it's here, and
yep, yep.
certainly just need to get creative and see what we can get done.
And this is a particularly creative park district?
We are.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're able to find ways, we're good nickel and dime and quarter pinchers.
Right.
And I'm sure that we will, excuse me, end up eventually with the building that we had in mind, 99%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll just, I mean, it'll take maybe a little more time and
Mhm.
a little more whatever else, but we will get there. I mean, I have no
Right.
doubt about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe more sleepless nights, a few more worked in there.
Right.
We now have a known,
Right.
Yeah,
that's
oh
the
yeah,
great news.
unknown
Goal
is the
to work
hardest to
toward.
deal with.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, I agree. Yeah, even if it was worse, at least you know it. And
Right.
it's there to have to be able to figure around.
Right.
Yep. Great, thank you. Is he still there, whoever there?
Yes.
He's there.
Okay,
Thank you
sorry.
very much,
Joel.
Joel.
Thank you,
Joel.
Joel.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right.
Hey.
Good night.
All right, now to a happier topic. Beth, we're ready for birds. Are you ready for us? Sure. Great.
Yeah, Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Patricia.
Okay, well, Beth is coming up. I'm gonna see if I can find a new pen. It turns out I can't sit well and
Be able
not.
to see you
No, I'll
better.
go get one. There should be one out at the desk.
I can get it,
Nancy.
Nancy. I'll get it.
It's like either that or this.
All right.
She's in motion.
She's gone.
This was the company that's making the
Oh,
bid?
now
or-
she can.
I'm sorry?
She was with the company that's making the bid, or?
She was our architect.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
one of our
No.
architects, yeah. Yeah.
All right. A resident bird guru,
Along with Roger.
Beth Chato is here to talk to us about the, is birding breed,
Breeding
bird
bird.
breeding population. So we're ready, Beth.
Okay. I'm representing, of course, the Champaign County Audubon Society. And says, I wrote a letter to you, and dear Tim and Commissioners, Champaign County Audubon would once again like to commend the Urbana Park District for its strong commitment to careful management of the natural areas in its system. A wide range of habitat variety is included in the Park District property: woodlands at Busey, prairie and stream corridor at Meadowbrook, and wetlands and prairie at Perkins. The marsh at Weaver Park is becoming an exciting place as one of the best of the few wetlands in the county. And these oases for wildlife within our large expanse of agricultural fields become increasingly important as our towns expand around them. These areas are particularly vital rest stops for migrating birds in spring and fall, so keep up the good work. It will be interesting to see the results of the renovation of Crystal Lake. I think the geese are beginning to pair up. They're all in pairs now. So.
They are.
This report covers the year 2022. I organized the effort and did the data compilation. but this year I was not able to spend much time in the field. However, I did get access to eBird, which records all reported sightings by county and includes locations, dates, and viewers. Champaign County birders reported 243 species for the whole year. Roger Diggs spends many hours at Meadowbrook and Bob Vaden at Weaver. eBird's reporters included Colin Dobson, our president, Aaron Tedesco, Zach Sutton, and Mike Ward. Crystal Lake and Busey had the most reported species for the whole year, with 105, with breeding evidence for 46. Among the more interesting species were green heron, wood duck, hummingbird, kingfisher, and Acadian flycatcher. This is probably the most birding park. The Audubon Sunday morning bird hawks are very popular. The first one's March 5th, and we had 30 people.
Woo.
They will continue through March every Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, feeding at the Nature Center. I was surprised I didn't have any owls reported, but I think there probably are owls in Busey or Crystal Lake, but there are no reports of them. Meadowbrook Park had 81 reported species. I don't have many breeding records for this year, but the usual residents included pheasants and eastern bluebirds and great horned owls. And the great horns have a nest this year, as Fredger has been monitoring. Other species of interest included Lincoln's and Harris's sparrows, and pine siskin and screech owl. Perkins site still has limited access and 20 species. I think the Natural Area Study Group is going there next week and
They are.
hoping maybe to go along. This year's records are from the May 9th spring bird count and include a green-winged teal, a wood duck, mallard, turkey vulture, and red-tailed hawk. Incidentally, I had a key for the, but you put in a new padlock, so my key doesn't work.
Oh, for Perkins.
For Perkins.
Okay, we'll make sure we get you a new one.
I was up there one time this summer. Weaver Park has 36 species, including a variety of unusual sparrow species thanks to its grasslands. It had crate-collared, lecontes, and Nelson sharp-tailed sparrows. Also had sedge and marsh wrens. And this wetland also has interesting visitors, the pie-billed grebe, a blue-winged teal, and a sora rail, and an osprey flew over. The only county's whippoorwill was from Weaver.
Oh, wow.
It deserves careful monitoring as new plans move forward. So that's what I have, and I do have a list of things, and I can send them by email, but I wasn't sure who to send them to, or,
If you send them to me,
And
I'll
send them to
distribute them.
Derek.
Yeah,
okay, you can give me
Yep.
your email address later.
absolutely.
I do have a printed out copy.
Great.
And also including a historical, recorded species. I just thought that was kind of fun. Busey Crystal Lake Park has 236 altogether. See, how many did they have this year? 243. So
Wow,
there must be some that are on this list that are not on this list.
extraordinary, yeah.
It is close, very.
And Meadowbrook has 229, and Perkins 214, and Weaver Park 161.
Pretty amazing.
So that's
It
what
is
I have.
amazing.
If you have
Yeah.
any questions.
Beth, we just really appreciate the report. As we say every year, we appreciate the work Audubon does, the work you do, and the reporting. Obviously, it goes into our historic records, and I'm sure people way down the road ahead of us will really appreciate all this archival info. We know that the birding community adds so much to our park offerings. We're just very grateful.
You're welcome.
Yep, yep.
I would add that we've been working with Audubon on a shrub planting that will be taking place in Crystal Lake Park. You probably noticed we've gotten rid of a lot of invasive honeysuckle and buckthorn, and so Audubon reached out about their interest in helping replant some of the good stuff, and so that'll be happening. Of course, we've been working with Audubon closely as plans continue for Weaver Park, and hopefully we can really strike a good balance there where we can provide for both active and natural areas-based recreation. So, yeah, so much appreciate all of Beth's time and support, and Roger, of course, wears a couple hats, but yeah, they're a really important organization to our agency.
Yep.
Thank you,
That was
Beth.
interesting, of all the organizations I belong to, Audubon has the most new, young, excited people. So
Right.
Ooh, that's great.
That's really great
We
news.
really do.
Derek, what shrubs are we going to be putting in?
Well, I haven't seen the actual list. I know that Matt's working with Zach Sutton from Audubon on it.
Uh-huh.
If I were to guess, it'd be things like elderberry, nannyberry, blackhaw, probably some more of there's a new species, the blue beach that we found in the bluff there. So
Oh, yeah?
I'd be happy to
A
send.
beach?
Well, it's Carpinus carolinus. The common
Ah.
name is blue beech. We actually have it planted out in front here. It's a multi-stem variety.
Mhm.
Hop hornbeam,
Yeah.
things like that. So I'd be happy to send the full list once we have it put together.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm always looking for things to feed the birds. If you have any that squirrels don't like, I'd be particularly interested.
That would be a great list.
For
Yeah,
sure.
it would be. Valuable.
I
There
suspect
probably isn't.
Spice bush may be one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the deer don't tend to browse that in Busey Woods.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
become quite prolific. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Blooming right now, and it's a pretty
Mhm.
sprout. And it doesn't
Oh,
grow too-
all red?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the first things that bloom.
Yeah, I don't think mine is. I think I have a spice. I know, it's a little yellow.
Yeah.
Yep, mine hasn't started yet. Maybe the squirrels chewed off all the blooms, I don't know. All right, thank you,
Thank you, Beth.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have
and
a good
and not,
evening.
and not just us, thank you. Yep, the community thanks you. And it's valuable to us and it's valuable to the community to have this nice link between the Park
It is.
District and Audubon, and it's,
Yep.
you know,
I'm listening to hear what the rest of you are up to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please do.
it reaches a whole different part of the community that we wouldn't reach otherwise, which I think is
Right.
just grand. All right, so now we're back in the old groove. Let me get back to my agenda here. All right, so we have finished up with with the core presentation and with the Audubon breeding birds report. So now we're going to move back to item 4 on the agenda, the Urbana Park District Advisory Committee report. So, Cedric, anything you want to say about it? We do have a report included in the minutes.
Just that there was a public comment from Tomas Delgado regarding the Weaver Park Master Plan that I thought was pretty interesting. And then there was also obviously a really great presentation from Matt Bulk about the just our natural areas management and everything that he does. A lot of talk about controlled burns, and it was a good discussion. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was interesting, and I think it's always great for Matt to come and talk to UPDAC, because most folks haven't a clue
Right.
that we've got somebody as devoted and dedicated and smart and, you know, just clued into what's going on, working for us just in that small niche
Right.
of the Park District. I mean, and he does a fantastic job, and and I think he's also good at recruiting volunteers, so that he's really a double-edged sword in a lot of ways. And I think if you can, the more people in Urbana that you can educate about this aspect of what we do is
Right.
a good thing. So it's really great to have him come and talk, and he does a great job as well. All right, so UPDAC, cross that off. Consent agenda next. So we have a whole slew of things on our consent agenda. Do I have a list of them here? Yes, I do. So I will read them off. We have the approval of the minutes of the February 7th study session meeting, approval of the minutes of the February 14th regular board meeting, and then we have monthly reports, administration, planning and ops, recreation. We also have the action to accept the philanthropy report and gifts listed, of course, with gratitude, and approval of the monthly paid accounts payable, which doesn't sound like it makes sense, but it does. So we need a motion to approve all of this, unless any one of the commissioners would like to take any of these items off the agenda, then to move it into old or new business somewhere down there, and talk about it in more depth later.
I move to accept all the actions on the consent agenda in an omnibus fashion.
Second?
Any discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 There we go. Next.
Right.
Ooh, wow, takes us to the middle of the second page. Reports, financial reports.
Laura's up.
Yep, money, money, money.
Hi, everybody. We'll start with our normal fund balance reports. Page 1 is sum 1. This is all of our funds less our capital improvements fund. Total revenues, $12,777,765. And total expenditures, $11,167,100. This gives us a surplus after 10 months of $1,610,664. Page 2. This is our capital improvements fund standalone. This is, total revenues are $2,516,374. And total expenditures, $2,867,782. This gives us a deficit of $351,408 after 10 months. Page 3. This one's titled Sum 3. This is all funds district-wide, and we just note at the bottom our total ending fund balance of all funds, $15,112,497. The remaining pages are our 3 main working funds, the general fund, recreation fund, and museum fund. And the last page is the Urbana Indoors Aquatic Center Fund. Any questions on the fund balance reports?
Looks good.
I like it. Moving to the second group of reports, these are our treasurer reports, and this is the amount of cash that the district has as of one day, February 28th, 2023. All 25 funds are listed down the left, where everything is invested, which facilities, institutions are across the top. And the investments on this date totaled $17,722,604.15. Page 2. Top section lists the amounts that we have in interest-bearing accounts. Grand total of investments, $16,743,495.85. Bottom part of page 2, this is our interfund loans. There is no new activity in the month of February. And page 3, last section of the treasurer's report, these are all the disbursements for the month of February. This matches the paid accounts payable report from the consent agenda. And total disbursements of funds, which includes payroll and all vendor payments, $724,664.27. I present the treasurer's report for audit.
We have approval of the treasurer's report
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
for audit.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Aye.
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 Okay, all 3 of us are in agreement.
Awesome. And the last group of reports are our capital budgets. The areas that are highlighted with an asterisk are the new activity during February. And on page 1, this is our 2019A ARS bonds. There were no new revenues and new expenditures. There was a $750 expenditure for the EPA permit. And we also expensed $27,615 for Weaver Park planning. This was paid to Farnsworth. A couple of invoices, I believe, totaling that. Page 2 is our 2023 budget. We received a donation of $2,800 under tributes and donations, and expenditures. We had the second half of our cost of issue for our bond, and that was $6,000 to Chapman and Cutler. Next
No
page
sneak in there.
is 2022 capital budget. No new revenues. Expenditures here, a couple small ones. We had a $220 under tributes and donations for a tribute plaque, and a small $27, this was for some rock for the Habitat Garden. And under hardscapes and fencing, we had a couple expenditures here, $32,224 to SK Fence for some of the Blair Park tennis fencing, and $1,455 to Smith Burgett for some outdoor learning pavilion design work. And we also paid $2,015 to Fair Graham for design number 6 regarding the Broadway Avenue project. And the last activity is in the 2021 capital budget. We had some tributes and donation expenditures totaling $1,658. These were to purchase the picnic table frames at the outdoor learning pavilion.
How many table frames do you get for 1,600?
That's a good question.
You know?
I
So
do
there
not
was,
know. Maybe Andy knows.
Yeah, quite a few. It wasn't just, there was 8 for the pavilion, and then we had another additional 7 for
Oh,
other parks and tribute program kind of stuff.
So the 1,600 was all of those?
It might be split somewhere else.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And then there's some more under Blair Park improvements, $35,251, again, to SK Fence, some more of that fencing. And we're down almost to the bottom of that section for the outdoor learning pavilion, utilizing the museum fund transfer. There was $194,210 expense to Petrie Coon and $1,104 to iZone. iZone was for the interpretive panels there.
So, Andy, what do we still have on that? Are we close to
For the pavilion?
the pavilion? Yeah.
Contractor-wise, it's pretty much done, other than the landscaping work that they have to come back for
Okay.
probably next month.
Okay.
Internally, we need to do some of the kind of FF&E, so we need to get like the locks changed for our locking system. We purchased some of the gear for the fireplace, but still need to get like a tote for the firewood, just kind of small stuff like that, shelving, refrigerator in the storage room. But yeah, it's pretty much good.
So
I'm
probably
waiting
not-
for the keys to get really changed, and then it's really hard, but it's hard.
So probably not 13,000 worth.
No, it's probably contingency that's been held for that project, that once it's
Yep.
over, we'll get released back to the museum fund.
Okay.
But we are also, that just reminded me, we are doing some additional striping on the parking lot and doing some additional signage to help people move through the parking lot. And kind of that tricky spot is where you enter the new parking lot or exit the new lot. We want to make sure people go right, not left.
oh, yeah.
So go right around the turn
Yep,
around.
yep,
and
yep.
so we have like a right turn only sign that we just
Huh.
got, and then there's a wrong way sign that will be about 40 feet to the east of that. So if someone starts to turn, they'll see a wrong way.
I've seen
So
covers.
some stuff like that too.
Whether they do it or not, somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're looking to do some striping with that as well, and all the parking lot area for Crystal Lake and the Nature Center.
I'm gonna thank you again for the solar lights in the parking lot.
Yes.
They look great, and the idea of solar lighting in there is just,
Wonderful.
yeah, and it's all downlit, so.
I can
it's-
take almost no credit for that, but I will receive it on behalf of.
There you go. Yeah, and then I think too, I want people who might have an interest in this to know that we've paid attention to that kind of detail. That it's, that we're not just, slapping up some old light around the parking lot, that we've thought about it to that level of detail. And that we're forward thinking and not
Right.
just using electricity, so hooray.
There was no activity in the remaining reports.
Kind of sad that the capital budget report is almost the same number of pages as the regular treasurer's report,
compliments
isn't
me,
it?
Andy. We're gonna be taking one of them off of the docket for next month, so it will be becoming a little thinner. So, 2017
Yeah.
capital budget has been fully expended, and
Yeah, funny.
actually,
18's really
18 is
close. I don't have it in
really
front of me,
close.
but
Yeah,
it might be tributes.
it's getting real close.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times that's
Thank you.
happening because we have a lot of multiple years that are funding big projects, like
Yes.
the Crystal Lake rehab, the road.
Yeah.
And so they just, as those contracts are still active, we still
Yeah,
have
yeah.
funds that are held in that, but.
It makes sense. It's just kind of amusing to me that it's like living in the past and everything
Mhm.
together, all, whatever that was. I can never get that movie title right. All right, Tim, you're up.
All right.
Executive Director, what you got to
Well,
tell us?
Leslie, were there any other
Oh,
sorry.
capital?
Yeah.
Capital
I can, I,
update.
Oh,
just,
oh,
I
sorry,
don't have any
I-
pictures or
Oh.
anything fancy tonight, but
Yep.
I can update on just a few, like
Sure,
of our
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't
larger-
mean to.
No, I usually turn it
happening.
over. I missed it.
Well, I was talking.
One of them's with the sanitary bridge replacement. I think last I
Oh, yeah.
updated is that we were looking to potentially lower the lake in February,
Mm-hmm.
and the contractor would want to get started on the bridge abutments at that time, and then we would have them come back in the fall when the bridge is delivered, and then kind of finish up that installation portion. So what's occurred now is the contractor's thinking they may not need the lake lowered at all, and they actually may prefer to wait until the bridge is getting close to delivery, and potentially could schedule this after our boating season's kind of over with as well. So if the bridge is expected to be in September and October, September may be when they would want the lake to get lowered, and they would do, if they need the lake lowered, and then start to do the work then, which I think is actually better overall for
Yeah,
us. So that's
yeah.
kind of good news.
And there's nothing hazardous about I mean, I know that it's not in good shape, but it's not gonna fall in any paddle boats.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it's still closed off, right?
it is, yes.
Okay, well then we're good.
Yep. Yeah, it still has the decking removed
Right,
from when
right,
they,
right.
when the, I don't know, 2020, when they removed that, 21.
Yeah, yeah. I was just worried about the whole bridge going over.
ITEP project, I don't have a lot of updates. A lot of paperwork still moving with the state. It seems like the construction contract between IDOT and Stark has been executed, but the funding agreements between IDOT and us are not yet moved through the central office. But we are trying to move some things ahead on that and potentially scheduling at least the pre-construction meeting, maybe as soon as in the next week and a half or two. So even irregardless if we have the funding agreement in place, we can get things rolling so that once the funding agreement is executed, the contractor will be able to get going on that as soon as possible. And one thing I was kind of pleased to hear that the agreement between the contractor and IDOT may be wrapping up is that they would be able to begin to procure the bridge. And that's going to be kind of the critical thing for a lot of the timeline for the project overall. So that, could be 3 months from the time they order it until we get the bridge. So that's fairly good news. Anyway, that's part of the most critical agreements are getting completed. And then, of course, Prairie Play, as you all know, the OSLAD grant. So just kind of briefly to go over the schedule, now that we have been notified of the award, it may be 2 months or so before all those agreements are executed, and we wouldn't be able to expend any funds on the project until we have it all authorized. But in the meantime, we can reach out to our design team for a proposal and at least bring that to you all as a recommendation to go ahead and award, so that once, timing-wise, we have the IDNR paperwork completed, we'd be authorized to start, and at that point, we would have the agreement with, if it is Upland Design or so we've worked on previously, we'd be able to jump right in and begin work. So I think what we've done previously in years past is we have the board award the contract based on once we have the agreement in place. I think we have some sort of wording in that, so we'll probably try to get that done in the next month or two so that we're ready to jump on and get moving.
And the lag time for the playground equipment is terrible.
Well,
Right.
Well, we met with another playground rep recently, just kind of touching base, and sounds like some of the manufacturers might have a more expedient timeline. So we're eager to get Upland under contract and here, the way Upland works, we have several different manufacturers we're working with. We just see where each is in terms of timing, but it's possible that some of the equipment could come sooner.
Yep,
So we'll want to make sure we don't order anything too soon.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's always a balance.
That's it. Unless you have
Okay,
any
very good.
questions.
Thank you. All right, now Tim.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Well, let's see. You have the You Belong Here report. So many amazing things in the report. I didn't know if, by the way, if anyone heard on WLL radio, there was a little feature article on the Urbana Community Dream Quilt. Did anybody
was,
catch that?
yep.
I thought it was just fantastic.
Yep.
They went through this whole long sort of background, and then Heather Britsky was interviewed, and she talked about it, and it was just really, really well done. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to call that out. I stopped over to the Phillips Center and looked at it and read some of the little details. It was just marvelous. So my point I wanted to kind of get to is, each one of these individual things are so rich and really changing and affecting people's lives. The teen groups and the outreach, all those efforts really, really matter. And sometimes they maybe just get glossed over in a report, but I hope everyone's enjoying and appreciate all the work that goes into that and the outcomes. It's just really critical.
Yeah, yeah.
Next, I wanted to comment on the Magic Stump film. I know we covered it, I think, last month, but I was just going to report. I heard from 3 different groups: Urbana Rotary, Champaign County Design and Conservation Foundation, and the group I'm in, Copper Creek Church Green Team. Lots of people attended, talked about it. The questions I were hearing are there going to be more of those feature films? Because I think the environmental people in those groups really appreciated that. Of course, we know how much work goes into that, and anybody's welcome to take on a project like that, but I just wanted to thank everyone involved again and just let folks know it's hard to find those sort of little specialty type things. So thank you, Roger. I know you were involved with that, and it attracted a lot of attention, and folks talked about it quite a bit afterwards. So.
Yeah, I heard there were 600 people at the
Right.
Virginia, which is
Right.
not a small.
Maybe-
I was
Or
stunned.
maybe more.
Really?
Well, and often I think of campus often to get those kind of feature films or specialty type
Yep,
things,
yep.
but it's just great when other community groups pull it together for,
Yeah.
the whole community that maybe not be on
Yeah,
campus.
yeah. And this was a
benefit.
GPF, Grand Prairie Friends funded, or was it not? Was it
It was-
multi-funding?
It was shared funding between Grand Prairie Friends and Champaign County Audubon.
Okay. Yep.
So we each contributed the same amount
Mhm.
for that, and then I forget, I think we had like 8 additional agencies who helped kick in money to
Yeah.
pay for all the expenses related to showing the film, including Champaign Park District, which provided the Virginia at their cost.
Oh, how terrific is that?
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Bob Dolgan does have another film called Fluddles, which is quite good. I think it's better than The Magic Stump. But anyway, so.
Roger, what is a floodle?
A floodle is a flood puddle in a farmer's field,
Ah.
generally in a farmer's field. And you see them all over the place
Yep.
in the spring. And what you don't realize
Uh-huh.
is the role that those play in migrating waterfowl and shorebirds and the like. I've myself, at times going to the right floodle, you might see 20, 25 species.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm ever in
I've noticed
a rear end collision, it's because I've stopped.
Yeah, well, there's that. There is that.
Yeah, farmer's fields.
Yeah.
Right, and is it the foundation that has an arrangement with the Plover, I never know how to say that,
Yes.
Plover folks, because they've got a drainage block, so you can flood the field at just the right times when they're coming through, and then release it much earlier than the farmers need to worry about the wetness in the field for planting.
Are we thinking about that at all at Perkins?
Good question. I'm not sure that we have the right habitat for that.
Okay. Because of
yeah,
the vegetation?
Yeah, so vegetation,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We do
Yeah.
have water control structures that we
Yeah.
use for other purposes, but I don't think we've got quite the right, yeah.
You have the right for waterfowl, but probably in some shorebirds. but,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah.
Nancy, you're referring to Del Coleman Park?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's very neat. Yes, and I've seen those. There's one on Windsor Road between Mattis and,
Yes.
and I do notice the birds there, and I didn't know they had a name, so I'm really excited
yeah.
about that.
That's what they're
So
called.
I'll be
is
Is
looking.
it
floodle.
D's or T's? Floodle or
Flood,
flutter?
F-L-U, it's like flood puddle.
Yeah.
So just,
With Ds.
just puddle. So,
It's
Boy.
wonderful. Learned a new thing.
Yeah, I didn't expect to add a vocabulary word tonight. That's great,
Right.
thank you.
That's the golden plover, is that right? The golden plover?
That's-
using that?
No plover, but I'm not sure beyond that.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
either.
the expert,
Yeah,
so.
shorebirds are not my,
over,
mean-
over at that floodle, there's a lot of stuff in there. There's been, well, you would know probably more than I would, Beth. I don't know how many people report on that. But I know that there's been greater, yellow legs, lesser yellow legs. There's been, stilt sandpipers. There's. Not this year. I mean, over the years. Actually, that's been drained somewhat, so, and we've had a real dry winter, so, and we're having a dry spring, sadly.
Well, continue.
Sorry.
Next up, just wanted to comment on what a great job the Urbana School District's doing with the Freedom School. Went to the open house. I think I reported, last month on that, but been attending the meetings, and I think it's going to be a really good resource for Urbana. I think they have a wonderful facility. I think the program is excellent. I think the partners, which is one of the things Urbana Park District will be doing, is working with that group in a number of different ways. And we're looking right now at, probably the big push we're working on right now is looking at how many kids we can get enrolled in summer work or intern programs. So the Park District will be one of those partners. There are a few other businesses and groups in town. The nice thing about that program, they do provide pay for the students and transportation to and from the work site.
Oh,
Now,
yeah,
it
that's
is
so
for the month
important.
of June. It isn't the whole summer,
Yep.
at least as far as I know at this point. I know the park districts, I talked with Corky, and there may be a way to extend that for at least the paid part for some of the folks that get cited with us if they're available for the summer. Part of the program in the summer will be academic, so they may have morning or afternoon classes, so they may be available to work mornings or afternoons. Some are on what I'd call the trying to make money, so they're available and they're looking for more, I'll say full-time work
Yep,
or
yep.
revenue-producing work. So I think we can be working very closely with that. The students are really enthused, and I learned at the open house, they helped organize it and ran the open house. I noticed students were doing a lot of the
Oh,
work and,
great.
the ownership and maturity. I was just very impressed. A lot of times situations like that, people want to goof around or not take it serious, and everyone was on their spot, always attending to the visitor, and I was very impressed. So I think we're going to see a lot of potential and a lot of progress with that.
And this is operating out of where?
It's right across the street from the middle school, across on the east side of
Oh, yeah.
Vine Street in the old, I call it the old Comcast and the,
Pizza place.
yeah, the Domino's Pizza place, but wonderful interiors they've remodeled and
Great.
looks really, really nice, really sharp. And I think the school district, used some of the ARPA funds that they received to go toward that. So good things, and just wanted to compliment one of our close partners on that endeavor, and we're looking forward to working. I think that's how we'll make progress, working with the educational, the home life, and the work life, pulling those things together and, trying to make inroads there. So
Yep.
very, very pleased, and stay tuned. Corky's attending meetings with me. We'll probably bounce, whoever's free can attend, but we're excited and a lot of good people involved. So stay tuned for good reports.
Brand new show.
I think I included in the correspondence file a flyer from the Grease-ish fun musical that was done at CU Special Rec. Again, just want to compliment that group. It was the biggest performance we've had. They've really gotten sophisticated now, and like teaching everybody, it's not just the lines, but it's body language. They're doing a lot of pantomime or body movements. Like there's a lot of complicated songs in the movie Grease. I think they sang 7 or 8 of the numbers. I think they did a couple of dance routines, do a couple of the others. So it was extremely well done. We had probably 125 or 30 in the audience, so it was packed out.
Terrific.
And then my notes, we had 16 in the cast, And then just really want to compliment Brian Hagee as the director and Anita Stein. She's the co-director. The choreographers are fantastic. Just parents really enjoyed it. I think a lot of people came, families, came to see it. So it's a big time production. Really proud of our group, and just keep staying tuned for greater and greater things.
Yeah,
To
it's
take on
fabulous for those
a
kids.
project like that is it's really complicated, and it was very well done. The costuming is excellent, and just really fun, and we'll keep you posted on the next production.
Good.
If you haven't attended one, I highly recommend it. Let's see. And then lastly, I know we talked about Prairie Play, but separately, the funding group that's trying to raise funds, really thrilled about the grant. That was the best news. Obviously, that makes, I think the impact of what if we don't get the grant? Would we have to raise that money in addition? So pretty relieved. We still have a big uphill, but everyone's excited. And Derek mentioned the time it'll take to get the play equipment. It's going to take months for us to go through all the potential, sort of like we did with health and wellness. We've identified people, set up teams that will go out and start talking in the quiet phase. So we have a lot of meetings scheduled. So I hope we do really well in that quiet phase, talking to some businesses and some individuals. So that work's kicking off. We appreciate that time. Probably from now through summer, we'll be making those visits. So we'll keep you updated on any big news, but just wanted to compliment that volunteer group for the efforts that they're doing. And they were very thrilled to hear about the grant and ready to get started. I can answer any other questions if you have any about anything.
No, well,
All right, that's all I. President's report sheet that usually
Right.
goes along with the highlights there,
right.
meetings and activities and events at the district.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that really needs to be highlighted, except the sort of reminder for that 6:30 meeting
Right,
in 2 weeks.
it's probably the next big move
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Everything else is pretty standard. All right, so I think we can we can move on from there. Finance, you got anything to tell us, Roger?
Nothing that we haven't really already talked about.
Okay.
We spent a great deal of time on health and wellness. We talked about Prairie Play, and not a whole lot more. So,
Okay.
but we did our allotted hour and a half or 2 hours.
We filled it.
All the brain work. Okay, good, thank you. Policy Study Group.
We have not met, and we will meet as needed.
Yep. Foundation. That's kind of like tag team.
Yeah.
Roger, you're next.
The couple of things that they talked about that I found important. One was the events committee is wanting to develop a strategic plan for events. Which events are going to be fundraising events, which are going to be friend-raising events, maybe some combination of the two. They're looking at things like the Barn Bash. What really is the purpose of that?
Yep.
And what do we want to do? So they're going to work on that, and I know they'll have a good job. They'll do a good job. They have 2 of our former staff that are on that committee, so
Yeah.
that'll be helpful.
That Ellen and Judy.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other thing, they have decided to centralize the way nominations are done. People who want to serve on the foundation board will be asked to fill out an application that will also help kind of clarify what is it that they expect of board members and that sort of thing. And then Jake Wolf will serve as kind of the central clearinghouse for all of that. But anybody can provide him with names. So if any of us or anybody listening to us has ideas for people that might know people that would be willing to help work to support the program of the Park District financially and otherwise, they should go online with the Urbana Park Foundation
Okay,
a website. So that was it.
good, okay, thank you. up deck.
We meet as needed. I believe that the next meeting will be sometime in the summer.
Yep. Old business. We have no old business, or we have a lot of old business. We didn't take anything off the consent agenda, so there's nothing to, my goodness, it's only 8 o'clock. Can we talk slower or something just to make it feel like we've had a real meeting? Because we're now down to sanitary sewer stuff, unless there's more to sanitary sewers than I thought, but,
Oh, we'll give you what we know.
okay.
I think Derek has some information on that. I know it's
Right.
been a challenge to get to this point, so we're very excited. Derek, do you want to add anything to that?
Sure. I mean, I think we've talked a little bit about this in the past, but we're now at the point where we're ready to approve these easements. This will allow us to have a gravity sewer off the new facility rather than a lift station. Lift station involves, a lot more maintenance,
Yep.
power, cost.
Yep.
And so we're very appreciative of our partners, both the county and the city, to support us in this endeavor. One of the easements is for a small section of the line that's on park property that will transition ownership over to the city of Urbana after it's complete, and they will own and maintain it from that point forward. The other is a three-way agreement with the county and the city, and the county is going to provide easement, and there too, the city will own and maintain that sewer, and it provides a number of benefits for us, in terms of the construction, but also future connections. Right now, you could have future improvements in that area that can connect to it. So, again, we're appreciative to both the county and the city. The county initially was a little concerned about, the capacity to absorb the additional flow, but
Yeah.
we worked with the sanitary district to document that the capacity was sufficient not only for our current project, but the future spray ground and
Yep.
pavilion that we anticipate would follow. So I'd be happy to answer questions you would have, but we have a motion to approve both of the two easements this evening. And once approved by the park board and signed off by the park board, the city would be the final signatory to these easements.
Well, I would move that we approve the sewer easement between the city of Urbana and the Urbana Park District assigning right, title, and interest in the sewer and granting permanent easement to the city of Urbana. Also to approve the sewer easement between Champaign County, the city of Urbana, and the Urbana Park District assigning right, title, and interest in the sewer to the city of Urbana.
Second.
Any discussion? I forgot where we started last time, so Roger, you want to vote
Aye.
first? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
Fantastic, thank you.
All right. So our next item is action to approve Park Walkers Agreement with the Developmental Services Center of Champaign County. So, do you want to describe this? Because I'm thinking there's a lot of park walkers. So,
Right.
yeah. So for
Tell
the
us
people who are
about this.
watching.
Yeah.
Sarah Roper, who we're familiar with from our Assistant Advisory Committee, who works with DSC, approached us about this program. This will be our second year and third year of being part of the program. Champaign Park District has done it for a bit longer than that, but it's basically a way of working with DSC and their clients to provide meaningful employment in an area where we need some help. And so they provide, obviously, the clients, but also the supervision and the transportation. We work with Sarah on a schedule based upon anticipated need. And so for a lot of our parks, it's maybe twice a week. Some are maybe once a week. Crystal Lake Park is more frequent.
Yep.
And during the height of summer, it's actually Monday through Friday that they're out. And it's made a real difference in terms of
bet.
keeping the parks clean. We noticed during COVID that not only did visitation go up, but so did trash in the parks. And so this has helped us keep on top of that. And
Great,
I think that trend has continued. We're still seeing a lot of use, and it's an important program for us at this point. So last year was just for a single year. We're just kind of testing the waters. It went really well. This year we'd like to recommend 2 years, and therefore it's a dollar threshold that we bring to the board for approval. We recommend approving this agreement for not to exceed of $34,000, and be happy to answer any questions you might have.
This is great, Derek.
It's just
this
a
is
win-win, isn't it?
It really is.
Oh, yeah, this is so terrific. Not much money spent for tons of good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yep. Hooray for Sarah.
Yeah.
All right. Whose
before
turn
you
is it?
You got the.
Oh, I've got the
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
I'm
you got
sorry,
the-
okay,
all good.
I
You got the yellow one.
apologize. So, I move to approve the 2023-24 Park Walkers Agreement for a not-to-exceed total of $34,000.
Second?
Any more discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 There we go.
Great.
Item E, okay, we're past 8 now. Action on any new business, there is none. Commissioner comments. Next up.
No, I'm looking forward with some trepidation to the 28th, and we'll make a decision then, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking
yeah.
forward.
And I have a great deal of confidence in you guys, on working out what needs to be done and presenting something that we can say, that's great,
Yeah.
so.
Yep, I'm with you. I agree.
Appreciate it.
Well.
As
it's-
Michael would
it's-
say.
I don't know, we've not even exhausted ourselves, but we have come to the end of the agenda.
We have.
So at 8:07, I declare this meeting closed.
All right. Thank you all.
Great job.